So it happens in life that bad thing happens to good people. People fall, their hearts are broken, they face difficulties in life, they face adversity, and even after that, they they keep moving up, they keep walking, they keep going towards their goal, but something holds them back. Something that is beyond their knowledge, something that they cannot understand. And sometimes the answers lie in the past, in deep past. So the oldest wound is some unresolved issue of someone's deep past. When you make that upward journey, when you want to come out of everything you are in, it may be a broken relationship, or it may be a lost job, it may be an injury in sports, it may be a financial loss in your business, it may be failure in some other parts of your life. And when you fall, you pick yourself up and you make the upward journey, and you do this many a times. You keep repeating the thing, you keep trying to get to a better place, you try to make something out of your efforts, you try to succeed in your effort, whatever effort these are. By journey or success or efforts, I don't mean uh, that you are trying to be something top notch thing. My point is, you want a better life, something something better than where you are. So if you want, you are going up for a small business, and your business has recently faced some financial losses, but you try to pick it up, you try to correct the things, you try to run your business again, move the things. But what happens is, you are doing this multiple times, but things are not getting better. Something always ends up in ditch, something is holding you back. Take another example. You are you are a couple who want to resolve some issues between you. There are some points of conflict between the two of you, and every time you try to resolve the issue, it gets worse. And that's how it goes. It has been a lot of time you have been trying to make the relationship good, you have been trying to do it better, but things are not working quite the way you want them. And in that upward journey, after multiple failures, you are strong enough to make another attempt. And this happens in everyone's life, that if they fail 9 times, they are likely to go for the 10 times, because they have learned something, they have gained strength, they have learned skills, they have made up their mind. So this time, if they have failed 9 times, 10 times won't be much of a problem. Then comes the darkest hour, the last hour, when they have been repeating it multiple times, and the success or a better life, or their goal, their aim is just a few notch away, just a few hours away. And the last part of it is the darkest hour. The darkest hour is when nothing makes sense. It's it's a situation in everyone's life when, and everything from your personal, financial, relationship, occupational, physical, mental, societal, even environmental, everything is going south, everything is down, and nothing is making sense. You are making mistakes in the things that even a child cannot ignore. So, and those mistakes are the result of the darkness of the darkest hour. And this is called the darkest hour just because you cannot see anything. Then, even in the darkest hour, when you try to make another attempt, you try to go for one one more step up, one more fight, and here, when you reach the top, something pulls you down, and you are back again in the same situation where you started. Then you come up with this thing, shedding the dead weight. Something in your life are holding you back. Something in your life are not necessary. Something in your life are some dead things, some dead weights that do not serve any purpose. They just try to pull you down, and you need to shed them. You need to see with the connection. You need to cut them off. And those dead weights are any can be any part of your life. Those can be some old relationship. Those can be some old habits, some financially unresolved issues, some of your uh, maybe some person in your company, maybe some skill in your company, maybe some old machinery in your company. And when you find it, when you see the thing, and if it is about people, you know what it is. You know what dead weights are. You will know them when you face them. And these dead weights, they are always accompanied by negative emotions, those emotions that you cannot get rid of. And so anything in your job, your personal life, in your career, anything that has negative emotions associated with it, and those things, those events, people, or tasks that evoke negative emotions, those are dead weights. Those are no longer necessary. You need to shed them. And when you shed those dead weights, especially in interpersonal issues between people, because the occupational and financial issues, these can be resolved. These are just matter of time before any career related financial or occupational any other thing can be resolved. It's just the interpersonal or emotional issues that last the longest and that cause the damage. And same, while when I talk about shedding the dead weights, so I would stress upon the emotional things. It's emotional things that last the longer, because any other concrete thing, whether it is in your career, in your profession, in your personal life, in your finance, in your business, in your sports, in your dreams, whatever it is, any other concrete thing, if that is missing, that can be arranged. But the emotional issues, they are really the the things that stick, the things that don't go away, the things that don't melt away. So when you try to shed those dead weights, when you try to cut off the emotional issues, those are followed by a turbulent emotional storm. And it happens with everyone, especially those who have who are trying to come out of it when nothing is making sense, and when they try to find those emotional issues, negative emotions, and then they cut off them. The the cut off or the break off is not easy. When you want to resolve those emotional issues, whenever you try to point at them, whenever you try to handle them, they get very turbulent. So And here, my advice would be that it is going to be painful. The shedding of dead weights is a painful affair, is a heart-wrenching affair that you heart-wrenching thing that you would never want to face. But it's a lot better to face it now and resolve it rather than facing it every day. It's better than you face more pain today than going through the same darkness every day. And so this thing is going to be painful. And when you dig deeper, when you handle this emotional storm, I would say the emotional storm, when you shed the dead weights, it the emotional storm, it will drag you down. It will take you to unimaginable level, or I would say it will take you to some dark alleys. This emotional storm will worsen your fear. You would try to get back at the person who has left you, or you try to be with those forgotten relationships, or you would be want to be in the company of that same emotional issue. So this emotional storm, what it does, it exploits you. It exploits your weaknesses. It exploits everything in you so that you hold on to those dead weights. It will compel you that it is really necessary that you hold on to those dead weights. If you don't, this emotional storm, this will paralyze you. This heart-wrenching feeling, that the pain, it will be severe. The pain will not rest you for a single minute, but don't worry about it. So this emotional storm will drag you to dark alleys, but keep the faith. Don't worry. Wherever it drags you, whatever it does with your heart, whatever feeling it, emotions it awoke, whatever fears are being whispered in your ear, just keep the faith. Keep the faith. It is there. It will not let you do anything. It will not let anything happen to you. So when your fears, your weaknesses, those are being exploited. So you reach a very painful stage. I would say you would reach a, a heartbroken, painful thing. It happens because those oldest wounds are the wounds that have given you this much pain, but you have never known them. You have almost forgotten them. Now is the time when you shed those dead weights. So one by one, they gets peeled down, and when it peels down, you reach to that level. You reach to the oldest wound, the issue in the deep past. It may be your first painful memory. You will find it, and if you do not reach it, try to find it. The oldest wound or the first painful memory. And the first painful memory are usually associated with some people who you love, your loved ones. Maybe it's your about your first affair. Maybe it's about your childhood trauma. Maybe traumatic, some other trauma or traumatic memory. Whatever, the first painful memory is the oldest wound. And what you need to do when you find this, when you find this oldest wound, you would find yourself facing an unresolved issue. And it happens with everyone. Everyone who had a fall goes to the same thing. And when you find this oldest wound, when you face up this unresolved issue, tend to it, resolve the issue, and it will be resolved because the first memories are always associated with people who are near us, people who we belong to, or people we, who we forgive. So whatever it is, tend to it, forgive everyone, forgive the person who are involved in that thing, and just move on. And what happens the very next moment, you will feel that every other wound in your heart, every other wound, every other scar, every other painful memory all get resolved at once. This is the power of tending to the oldest wound, or resolving the unresolved parts of the past. So what happens, this the thorn that is stuck in your heart, the thorn that is stuck in your heart, the oldest thorn, and when you pluck it out, the heart goes to heal itself. And when heart, the oldest wound is tended, and the oldest wound starts healing itself, so it is bound to heal every other wound. And you would feel it, you would really be happy about it, that every other part, every other wound has been resolved or tended to or healed. This is how this this old this oldest wound is going to give you a new life. And this healing may take up a little time, but in the end, nothing else will matter. I give you an example to relate. I recently met a 35-year-old man, some known person, and while talking, I got to know that he was suffering from something. He was going through some really bad times, and we talked it out. We talked it, we talked about whatever there was, whatever things that troubled him, the obstacles, the hurdles, the dead weights, everything. And finally, the emotional storm, the emotional storm that followed by shedding the dead weights, it got it took him to his own oldest wound. And his oldest wound was that when he was around 10 years old, his grandfather died. And he told me that he loved his grandfather very much, and his grandfather loved him very much. So both of them loved each other, but somehow the events happened in such a way that his in his final time, grandson and grandfather both were not together. So his grandfather left him without saying anything, and this thorn stuck in his heart for 10 for 25 years, that this long. And this thorn, it, it caused all other upheavals of his life. He He would never trust anyone else. He had a series of broken relationships. He has his own trust issues. And finally, when he found this, and then he realized that it was the oldest one, and then he suddenly jumped up to this conclusion, and he arrived at this conclusion that my grandfather could not have gone without talking to me. He must have called for me. He must have called for me, and it might have happened that by the time he called for the grandson, the situation did not favor his much staying, and he passed away. Whatever the case, that man and I both, when we saw this thing, how this simple thing, a simple event could have cost him 25 years. For 25 years, this horn stuck in his life. And when he finally realized that yes, it was the case, that I felt I was never loved, that I felt that people leave me without speaking. And when this resolved, when he finally said, I don't care who leave me, but I know my grandfather would not have left me without talking to me. He must have called for him. And this was his faith. This was the way he tried to plug the thorn out. And after a few days, he met again and he said that after this thing, no other wound mattered. When he plucked out the thorn, the oldest wound started healing itself, and then it healed every other wound. This is how the oldest wound heals. Thank you very much.